Hello everyone, welcome back to your channel, Discrypted. Today we're going to talk about the disappearance of Cédrika Provencher. The disappearance of Cedrika is one of the biggest missing person cases ever in Quebec history.
Search for a missing girl in Quebec has come to a heartbreaking end for her family. Police say they found the remains of Cédrika Provencher. She went missing in 2007 when she was 9 years old. Salima Shifji is in our newsroom with the details. So Salima, let's begin with the family. What are we hearing from them?
Well, Andrew, such a difficult time from the family. Obviously, they'd never given up hope that their Cedrika would be found alive, even more than 8 years after she disappeared. Now, she was riding her bicycle when a stranger apparently approached her, asked her for help in finding her dog. That was in July of 2007. Now, we know that police informed the family last night that the 9-year-old's remains were found.
We are talking about a village called Trois-Rivières, which is situated near to Quebec City in Canada. Cedrika, she was riding her bike not far from her home on July 31, 2007. It was a sunny day, a normal summer day in Quebec. Cedrika was approached by a man who was asking for help searching for a lost dog. She was supposed to be home at 8:30 p.m., but she never showed up. An intensive search was conducted. Her bike was found on the corner of streets Chabanel and Chapet. That was about 1.5 kilometers from the spot where she was last seen. The media suggests that Cedrika was abducted. This was based on a testimony of a woman who said that a strange man came to her home 2 days before the disappearance, and he tried to get her 5-year-old daughter and the 13-year-old babysitter to go swimming with him. The police stated they didn't have enough information to conduct an Amber Alert. Despite reports that Cedrika was seen with a man searching for his lost dog, over a week later, on August 8, the Sûreté de Québec, they issued a wanted notice for Cedrika, suggesting that she had voluntarily run away rather than being abducted. In the meantime, police concentrated on finding Cedrika by going door to door, searching a wooded area behind the homes near the San Maurice River. Police divers searched the nearby San Maurice River for traces of Cedrika. Cedrika's father, Martin Provencher, spoke with the media. He was pleading to the public not to give up searching for his daughter. If my daughter had been taken by a stranger, I want the kidnapper to leave her on a street corner where someone would find her and take her home.
Merci beaucoup.
It has been a very emotional week for the Provencher family and, of course, for all of Quebec, as the remains of 9-year-old Cédrika Provencher were finally discovered all these years later to give us a better perspective and better understanding, of course, of what is going on with the case and with this family. Our Dominic Fazioli, news producer, joining us once again on the BT Catch. Dom, so many questions, but first and foremost, so much emotion involved here for everyone, really, right?
It seems like the whole province is mourning with the family. I mean, It was one of the biggest missing person cases ever in Quebec history. I mean, there was a point, I think in 2007, 2008, you couldn't walk anywhere without seeing
her face.
Her face.
Everywhere, plastered around.
It's incredible.
And so, you know, obviously such a sad moment. Everyone was hoping for at least a different outcome.
Yeah.
Let's talk about, though, this investigation. Let's talk about, you know, now people are very, very angry and they want to find this killer. Where is the investigation on that? Are we any closer?
I don't know. Police had a press conference on Thursday, and the reason I say we don't know because they're not saying much.
Very tight-lipped.
All they're saying is that it's progressing. But what was interesting about that press conference, they're saying since the remains were found, this press conference was 6 days later, they said they've received 200 new tips. And isn't that a little strange?
It's very strange.
Like for the last 8 years, it's sort of been a cold case, and then all of a sudden they find the remains, then people have new information. And
what's strange, Dom, we should say, is the entire time that she was missing, her mom kept holding these press conferences and her dad saying somebody must have seen something. So you must wonder where those people were these last 8 years, right? Anything substantial that we know of coming from those tips?
The whole investigation goes back to this red Acura. If you remember, in September 2007, about a month and a half after she disappeared, this bit of information came out, and it's still relevant today. The abductor was driving a red Acura TSX. It's a 4-door sedan. It has shiny chrome handles. The suspect is a French-speaking man between 30 and 40 years old. How do they know that? The girl was abducted on July 31st, 2007. It appears that 2 days before that, he apparently tried to abduct other children, as many as 3 or 4 kids in that
with
same
the same
neighborhood.
ruse, right? Help me find my dog. I'm searching for a dog. You know, the oldest trick in the book. He tried it apparently a few days before. So now people are going to hear this, and they're going to hear red Acura, very specific, a French-speaking man. All these clues. Why haven't they found this person? Is the million-dollar question.
Yeah. Some police sources are saying that they have found the suspect, or they think they're pretty sure who this man is.
You've spoken to someone. You've spoken to a source who says what exactly?
He was involved with the investigation at the outset in 2007, 2008, and I think they've zeroed in on 1 or possibly 2 suspects: who drives a red Acura, who lives in the Trois-Rivières area, who fits everything that they're looking for. It sounds like they don't have enough evidence, or they can't advance the case past that.
Well, before, when there were no remains, it was hard to tie anyone to anything, right?
Yeah,
no
now
body,
they found
no crime.
the body.
Yeah.
I mean, hopefully this will bring the case to another level. But you know what? They have the remains. I'm sure they're doing forensic tests, but what will they find 8 years later? Like, is there anything there?
Is there anything left? Anything left?
I mean, there is a quote saying that the bones do talk. There is something that you can extract from the crime scene, but so far
it's unclear at this point. And a final note, I mean, as someone who's followed this story for years, you know, a lot is being made about the fact that the Provenchers are not as vocal as they were during the search. What do you make of that? I mean, to many people, it's just grieving, right? It is grieving.
Yeah, they were very public, like for 8 years, and everybody appreciated their time. But I think you have to let them grieve. Well, let me just share something with you. The grandfather, I think, is the only person who's spoken in the last few days, named Henri Provencher. For the last 8 years, he has not given up. A lot of people don't know that in the Trois-Rivières area, he's rented commercial space. He's kept a command center all this time. He has internet plugged in, fax machines. He's set up a 1-800 number. He follows leads. He's sort of become his own
police
detective.
Force,
yeah. And he's not giving up. You know, like back then it was a missing person case. Now he's doing his own murder investigation. And, you know, your heart bleeds for this man. Like he really wants closure. And, you know, he's an older man. He's 70-something years old. So I don't think he wants to die until he finds some answers.
Well, everybody wants answers here, especially, of course, the Provencher family. Dom, thank you so much for joining us. Again, Dominic Fazioli, our news producer, with the latest on Cédrika Provencher.
The Prime Minister, Jean Charest, he met with Cedrika's parents and the investigators. Condolences were given, but few answers. A local woman, Madeleine Bournival, she said she saw Cedrika, who told her she was helping a woman, not a man, find a lost dog. 2 people may be involved in Cedrika's disappearance.
Now, nearly 5 months since 10-year-old Cédrika Provencher disappeared in Trois-Rivières, Quebec. The search for the little girl has not stopped, and in fact, Quebec provincial police are now talking about a new lead today. They confirm they're investigating 5 so-called persons of interest. Cédrika's parents say they feel hopeful now the investigation is moving forward. Catherine Cullen reports.
Cédrika Provencher was 9 years old when she disappeared. Her parents had to celebrate the girl's 10th birthday without her. Come New Year's Eve, Cedrika will have been missing for 5 months. But Cedrika's mother says despite what skeptics may say, she's optimistic. Karine Fortier says she has complete confidence in the Quebec Provincial Police. Fortier says she has a good relationship with the officers, and she believes they are working very hard on her daughter's case. Cedrika's father, Martin Provencher, says the police have kept the family updated. He says investigators haven't given him all the specifics, but he knew for some time that so-called persons of interest had caught the police's attention. Provencher points out that the investigation started without many clues, but despite that, he says things are finally moving forward.
The investigators quickly concentrated their attention on a red Acura that was seen in the vicinity by a witness and captured on a security camera. This led the investigators to a local man in his late 20s, Jonathan Bete. He was one of 6 people in Quebec who drove a red 4-door 24 Acura with chrome handles and 7-spoke rims. He was the only one whose alibi for the night of Cedrika's disappearance couldn't be confirmed. On September 6, 2007, he told police they could inspect his car, but it was at the garage. Later that month, he gave an alibi for July 31, saying he was playing golf in the afternoon before driving to his parents' house while they were out of town. So convenient. Upon arrival, he said he saw his aunt already there. His aunt told police she never saw Bete that day. On December 10, 2007, police executed a search warrant on Bete's car. The search revealed no new evidence. 3 times, in 2007, 2012, and 2015, investigators invited Bete to take a polygraph test to verify his story. After consulting with his lawyer, he declined each invitation. On June 2009, investigators were ready to launch an elaborate undercover operation. They told Bete he won a weekend at the Mont Tremblant Golf Resort in a scratch and win contest. He was picked up in a limousine. He spent the weekend with other supposed contest winners. All of them were undercover agents. One of the undercover agents, he befriended Bete. Over the next 14 months, they went to play golf, dining and going to Canadian hockey games. The undercover agent, he began conducting illicit business in Bete's presence. He gave Bete $25,000 as a loan for his poker habit. But in August 2010, he said he was not comfortable with his shady business. Through the entire operation, the only potentially incriminating information obtained was a passing comment Bete made during a round of golf with the agent. They saw a girl between 10 and 12 years old in the window of her apartment. Bete said, "Did you see that bikini?" After a pause, he added, "She's a little young." After a hunter discovered Cedrika's remains in December 2015,
it was a group of hunters who found the remains of Cédrika Provencher. They were deep in the woods, only 15 kilometers from where she disappeared on July 31st, 2007.
The family and the people were hoping that we see Cedrika alive one day, but reality came up to us really fast yesterday.
The reality, Cedrika is dead and a murder victim.
It's a crime scene today. Now we found Cedrika, but now we're looking for a kidnapper and a murderer.
Pina Arcamoni has been in touch with the family since Cedrika disappeared. Back then, police had some leads, including the reports of a man who told the girl he needed help to find his lost puppy. When Cédrika Provencher went missing, hundreds of volunteers from the area assisted police in trying to locate her. Today, many of those volunteers are coming back to drop flowers and pay their respect to the family. Among those back at the scene, Martin Prudhomme, who was the lead investigator at the time. He's now the head of the provincial police.
Ce matin, j'ai rencontré Martin et Karine.
I spoke to the parents this morning, and it's a very difficult day for them.
This person has to be brought before justice and put behind bars. I mean, right now we have a murderer that is wandering the streets. We have to get him off the streets so that he can never ever again hurt another child and put another family through this unbearable grief.
Police now have more than 50 searchers combing the area looking for clues and asking for the help of anyone with any information which might lead to Cedrika's killer.
police obtained warrants to install hidden cameras in Bete's home and workplace, and to take the phones of his family and friends, hoping that the discovery of Cedrika's remains prompt him to say something. The document alleged that Bete used a computer at his workplace to download child pornography. They say he used online nicknames as Lure Them and Panty Guy to access files of girls, mostly aged between 8 and 12, engaged in sexual acts. None of the allegations were proven in court. He's not charged in relation to Cedrika's disappearance.